video already about sowing early onion seeds, but unfortunately I deleted it, which wasn't very sensible. So I'm going to just show you how to sow some shallots, because I didn't sow those at the time. I was waiting for the seed. I'm using this 60 cell module tray, and these are really good. They're much stronger, really solid. These will last a lifetime. Normally I sow in these or some polystyrene ones that you'll probably see me planting into in another video. But these crack, this one's all split. So I'm carrying on using these until they completely break up, and then I'll get rid of them. But I really don't like using plastic too much, and if I do use plastic, I like it to last for as long as possible, and I try to keep them as nice as possible so I can carry on using them. So anyway, I'm going to sow some shallots. This is long red Florence, which isn't a true shallot, but it's a shallot shape like the torpedoes, and they're great, they're really sweet. So I'll be sowing those, and I'll be sowing some zebrune, and these are the long shallots. These are really good as well. The other one's kind of reddy pink, and this is just a white shallot. But it does have some pink tinges. They're both really nice, and we always use them all up. We're never really able to to grow enough. So anyway, I filled up this seed tray and filled it up, and I just pushed the compost down just to level it down a bit, like this, just very quickly, just so that we get as much compost into the cells as possible, no air gaps or anything like that, and gives them, the little seedlings, plenty to grow into. And then I'm going to water it, and I do this first because once I put the seeds in, I don't really want to disrupt the seeds. If you water it after, you can move all the seeds around, especially some of the very small ones. Or you can plant up and then place this in a tray of water, and it will water it from the bottom upwards. So, but I'll do this because once it's done, I shall be stacking it indoors for a little while, and then I don't have to touch it at all until I start to see some of the seeds germinating. So I'll kick off with the long Florence, and I won't go through all of these seeds because that would be just a tiny bit boring. I multi-sow my seeds, which means I don't sow individually. I sow a number of seeds in each cell, and the number of seeds that I sow, that's almost a tongue twister. The number of seeds that I sow will depend on what I'm growing. Some people who are very keen on growing onions or grow onions for show will probably sow their seeds in a seed tray individually. They'll pick them out and then put them into cells like this or even bigger, and pop them on, and then into pots or big areas if they want large onions. We don't necessarily want large onions, we just want quite a few of them. So I multi-sow in these small trays. I like to end up with approximately 3 seeds that go into the ground, but I sow maybe 4, sometimes 5 seeds, because they won't all germinate at once. And if they did, I'll wait for a while and then take out the seeds that are growing. Like if there's 4 or 5 that actually germinate, I'll take the extra 2 out later on and use them as spring onions. So I'm just going to do some of that now just to show you how that's done. And onion seeds are really small, and they're black seeds as well, so when you're sowing against the compost, you can't really see them. So I like to just pop them into my hand. Some people are really skilled and can sow like this, but I'd rather put them into my hand. So, and so I want about 3 or 4 seeds. It really doesn't matter if you get more than that or less than that, because it doesn't. So a small pinch of seeds, you don't have to be too accurate with it, into each, and after a while you get used to what 3 or 4 seeds feel like in your fingers, and you know that that's what you have. Like I know that there's 2 missing there, and there's 3 in there. So you'll get used to it, but 3 or 4 seeds are fine. If it's 1 or 2 more, don't worry, but you can't be sitting there picking out all these seeds. It will take you a little while. So a small pinch, like so, and then let's put those away. I'll do that for the whole tray. So that's the seed tray sown. I've done half of the tray with the zebroon and half of the tray in the long red Florence. And again, if you want larger onions, then plant up less of them into a cell tray, or plant up individually. Or if you don't mind some of them being large and some of them being small, a kind of mix, then you put 2 or 3, put about 3 into a seed tray. As they grow, they'll push apart, so they'll make enough room for each of them to grow to a reasonable size. And that's why most people would probably choose 3, maybe 4 seeds to go on. As again, it depends on what you want from your crop. We want more onions because that way we get more onions from a smaller space than if we planted out individually. You can just put a light layer of compost just over the top, which is totally fine. I just tend to use some of this vermiculite and sprinkle over the top. That way I can make sure that the compost is kept moist, because the colour slightly changes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the long. The colour will slightly change when this vermiculite is damp. You might be able to see that some of it is actually going darker, so I'll know. One thing the onion seeds like and to help to germinate is some warmth and some damp. So once these onions have germinated, I'll be leaving them here. You can put them on a windowsill, kitchen, somewhere where it's slightly warm. And if you're growing a whole load of seed trays, you could stack them up. Just leave them indoors for a little while, and then as they've germinated, they can go into the cold greenhouse. Now, obviously, not everything can go into the cold greenhouse, but these certainly can. So I'll just finish covering these with some vermiculite, and then I shall stack them here in the kitchen. And as I said, once they've germinated, I'll take them down into the cold greenhouse and they'll be fine. And then once they're about this tall, which is about 2 to 3 inches, I'll plant them out. Also just checking the weather as well, because we've had some very late frosts. Last year we had a very late frost, but I shall pop them in. If it looks like it's going to be a cold snap, I can put some fleece over them just to give them a bit of protection. But they're pretty hardy and they're pretty robust.